me. I'm here.
But there is something you need to understand before you accept the merchandise.
Yet another sighting of a Specialized Aethos rider breaking the rules, this time in London, England. With more on this story.
The suspect clearly has no respect for the rules and should be approached with extreme caution. Over.
What have I done?
UCI, the feds, Verbruggen, Le Partien. They're after me, the bike's too light. Oh, there's a weight limit. The feds,
Matthew,
the keys.
You're
What?
a very good boy, and do your review. We'll take you to Poundland.
Poundland?
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
This is the Specialized Aethos, which I've been lucky enough to have been lent for the last few months or so. And my first impressions were, wow, this is a very, very light bike indeed. But the more that I've been riding it, the more I come to realize that this bike is far more than just that. When creating the Aethos, Specialized set themselves the goal of building a bike that delivers, first and foremost, a beautiful ride. To give themselves the best shot at achieving their aims, they tore up the rulebook, ignoring any established norms, and started with a blank page. Ordinarily, road bike manufacturers want their top-end machines to be ridden by the pros on the telly, but they're beholden to the UCI rules and regulations, most pertinently the UCI weight limit, which sits at 6.8 kilograms. But Specialized have got the Tarmac SL7 for that job. So, by differentiating their admittedly brilliant all-out racing frame than this, they've effectively done all their homework as soon as they got home from school on a Friday afternoon, leaving time to relax and have fun on the weekend. You're probably wondering what is so special about this carbon frame set, and that is a very good question, and the answer is in the tube shapes. Carbon fibre frames are almost guaranteed to have a chunky down tube to support the load around the bottom bracket and provide a stiff, responsive ride. But as Specialized engineer Peter Denk watched such a frame set flex under load, he thought, what if the shape is more important than the volume of the material? He tested his theory, producing hundreds of thousands of supercomputer simulations. The resulting data helped develop a model that delivered a monumental shift in how they thought about frame shapes. And the Aethos was born. Notice it's not an oversized down tube, rather the top tube tapers towards the seat cluster and the down tube tapers towards the bottom bracket. Now the shape of these junctions is really, really important as it affects the stability and the stiffness of the bike under load. Road buzz is minimal. In fact, it's a really, really comfortable ride and I could ride it all day long. In fact, from memory, I have on a few occasions, but saying that, this is no endurance frame at all. And it shares exactly the same geometry as the Tarmac SL7. So it's super racy, very, very aggressive, which actually suits me down to the ground. And of course, you just cannot ignore how light this bike is. When the road tilts upward, even though I'm not as fit as I was a few years ago, it really wants to go. It's twitchy in a good way. There's no lag, there's no waste. When you stamp on the pedals, when the road rises up, this bike wants to go. I know when you say a bike corners on rails, it's a little bit of a cliche, but this one really, really does. It's got wonderful balance when you really lean into a corner with just the right amount of feedback. It's a pleasure to corner on. I'll be honest with you, I'm actually going to miss this bike because it's a combination of everything that I like about bike riding. I always like the sense that I'm on a bike that I could easily race on, that feels aggressive, so I can get that real sense of speed. But also, because I'm a slightly different rider these days, I want that sense of comfort. I want to know that I can ride all day, fast, slow, go to a cafe, ride in the mountains, ride on pave, whatever. This will take me anywhere in comfort and in style as well. So it is a very, very special bike with kind of touchstones of every other bike that I think I've ever ridden. But first and foremost, it's a fun ride. The Aethos is a family of bikes with a couple of things that they have in common, and that is, first off, disc brake only, and secondly, they all have electronic group sets only as well. But the great thing for us riders is that the ride characteristics and quality are superb across the range, from the comp model with the SRAM Rival Axis eTap group set and all the way up to the S-Works model with the SRAM RED Axis eTap group set. I've spoken about the group set before. It's a 12-speed electronic wireless shifting system. It's intuitive, really easy to use, and crucially, that extra cog at the back means you've got single tooth shifting up and down the block, so you can always find your most optimum cadence on any climb or flat section. To keep this bike light and sprightly, Specialized have spec'd it up with Roval Alpinist CLX wheels, 33mm deep, so nice and light, superb for climbing, and actually the pair weigh in at a very lightweight 1,250 grams. So as I said before, perfect for climbing, and look at that, tan walls on these turbo cotton tyres, plenty of grip and nice and supple. The seat post is from Roval's lightweight Alpinist range too, and features around 27.2 diameter. What's more, the stem and handlebars are of a traditional design too, coming from the S-Works SL range. Speaking of traditions, the bottom bracket is threaded, which will be music to the ears of home mechanics out there. Time trials?
No, hill climbs. It's just two
hill climbs?
It's just two hill climbs, Matt. It's just one on the Aethos and one on the Oakley, that's all.
But I need to lose weight. I'm nowhere near my race weight.
It doesn't matter, Matt. You don't have time to lose weight. Come on, just hurry up.
Give me 5 minutes. Just all I want is 5 minutes.
Okay, you can have 5 minutes.
Give me 5 minutes.
Hurry up, please.
It turns out the crew wanted me to do 2 hill climbs, so it's a good thing the Aethos is ridiculously light. I just needed to make sure I was as light as possible as well. Job done. What do you reckon now?
Okay.
For my experiment, I'm going to ride up Staple Lane at a constant effort of 300 watts, measured by these Garmin Rally power meter pedals and monitored by this Garmin head unit. We'll time my efforts and deduce which bike climbs faster using a combination of maths and science. First up is this Specialized Elite Alley from 2013. Rim brakes, full aluminium frame, pretty reasonably spec'd. Crucially, weighs in at 8.49 kilos. Next up is a bike, as you know, needs no introduction. It is the all-carbon, top-spec'd Specialized Aethos, weighing in at a very lightweight 6.61 kilos. And all I've got to do is ride a set wattage up this 2K climb. I've chosen this bike as a comparison to the Aethos for a number of reasons. Firstly, if you're thinking about getting an Aethos, there's a good chance you started out on a bike like this, so it'll be interesting to see how it measures up. It's got a nice set of components. It's got a Shimano 105 chain set and rear mech and pretty shiny Shimano Dura-Race calipers, and it's still going strong. And perhaps most importantly, it's got a traditional shape, not too dissimilar to the Aethos. Time for run number 2 on the Aethos. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Ooh, flips in. Specialized insist that the frame is actually light by accident. In their quest for ride quality, they didn't reduce the wall thickness of their tubes. This bike is light because the tube shape carries the load, which allowed for the removal of all stiffness layers in the carbon material. Admittedly, the spec on the S-Works Aethos is super premium, and some might argue it's not a fair test, but this comparison is reflective of the potential journey of someone who might have started with a quality entry-level bike 10 years ago, perhaps upgraded some of the components, and now fancies something top of the range. So same power, 305 watts. First run, 611. This run, 553. So 18 seconds quicker for the same power. This is a really classic looking bike with some beautiful lines, and it also happens to be the lightest ever production frame with disc brakes. Now, as you could see from my little test earlier on, this bike saved me over only 1.25 miles at the same power, 18 seconds. Imagine what that could save you over a climb double the length, triple the length, or even a mountain pass. So in that regard, this is a real thoroughbred. Don't forget, the Aethos is from a family of bikes, so if the S-Works is out of reach, there are other options available that share its joyous handling. Carbon purely made for the enjoyment of riding. And if the last 18 months have taught me anything, it's the importance of fun. Right guys, can we go to Poundland now? You did promise.